The rise of J.J. McCarthy looked incredible, but it took a tragic detour. This is his story from being a college football national champion with the Michigan Wolverines to having to sit out his entire rookie year in the NFL as a Minnesota Viking. Before receiving the disappointing news that McCarthy would have to sit out the 2024 season, he was pushing to challenge Sam Darnold for the starting quarterback position in Minnesota. Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell originally designated McCarthy as the backup to Darnold at the start of training camp. It wasn't until the first week of the preseason that McCarthy had the opportunity to play in live action wearing the Vikings purple and gold. On August 10, 2024, McCarthy made his preseason debut against the Las Vegas Raiders. He completed 11 of 17 passes for 188 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception over 6 drives. If you only look at postgame the statistics, you'd think that the Vikings got a franchise quarterback, but the numbers don't tell the entire story. JJ's highlights came against the Raiders' second and third stringers. When he played against some of the Raiders' first-string defense, here's what happened. It was 3rd and 8 in the second quarter with 13:40 on the clock. McCarthy was in the gun. He evaded a blitz, but threw an interception to Vegas' starting cornerback Jack Jones. What's interesting is that Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins, and Malcolm Kuntz weren't even playing at that point. Antonio Pierce pulled them from the game. The Raiders had their first-string defensive backs in the game, but not their first-string defensive line. This raises the question, would McCarthy actually be any good against real NFL defenses? Skol Nation, what do you think? Do you believe that J.J. McCarthy will return and become the savior of your franchise? Or will he take a few years to develop? Could Sam Darnold be a more viable option as the franchise quarterback? What J.J. McCarthy said before the game is even wilder. A reporter asked him what he looked forward to seeing upon facing the Raiders.
Most eager thing to see is just a vanilla defense, honestly.
Was that necessary? Did that need to be said? After you finish watching this video, you can go see that presser and see for yourself. McCarthy actually said more about the Raiders later in the media session, essentially saying they were basic compared to the Vikings' defense. Now, if JJ thought the Raiders' defense was vanilla, maybe he should have kept that opinion to himself, because it definitely gave the first team some extra motivation to remind him he was a rookie, which they did. The Raiders' first and second team unit were more of a rocky road for McCarthy than vanilla. Are there any Raider fans here watching? What do you think about JJ's comments about the defense? 3 days following the Vikings preseason opener, the team announced that McCarthy would undergo surgery to repair a torn meniscus in his right knee after he felt soreness during practice. It was later revealed he underwent a complete meniscus repair and would sadly miss the entire 2024 season. McCarthy became the first quarterback selected in the first round to miss their full rookie season due to injury. But Sam Darnold, on the other hand, moved the Vikings offense down the field with ease while he was in, and that was against Max Crosby and the entire first-team defense. There are many J.J. McCarthy haters. I'm personally not one of them, but some people simply don't believe he will be anything more than a game manager like he was in Michigan for Jim Harbaugh, but we'll have to wait and see. I personally think it's tragic that McCarthy got hurt because Sam Darnold will finally get a legitimate chance to prove that he can be a true first-string quarterback in the NFL. The New York Jets did Darnold dirty during his time with the team. They put a lousy team around him and made him the scapegoat for their struggles. Adam Gase served as the second head coach for Darnold, and he was almost as bad as Josh McDaniels was for the Raiders. Gase and McDaniels were supposed offensive geniuses, but they were given the keys to run their teams into the ground. Sam Darnold was able to flash his abilities in New York as a Jet despite all of the unstableness from the team's leadership. When the Jets fell in love with the prospect of drafting Zach Wilson, they traded away Sam Darnold. It didn't help that they traded him to another unstable franchise, the Carolina Panthers. It was basically the same story for Darnold in Carolina. But in Minnesota, with Coach O'Connell, Darnold can run the offense for one of the game's truly better offensive minds. Plus, he gets to throw the ball to a true #1 receiver. Justin Jefferson is the best target Sam Darnold has ever had, an elite game-changing target. The Vikings have more help with Jordan Addison, Jalen Naylor, and tight end TJ Hawkinson. In the backfield, Aaron Jones is a solid back to hand off to as well. Darnold never had these types of weapons in New York or Carolina. He had great weapons in San Francisco, but that was Brock Purdy's team. That 2023 season, when Darnold signed a 1-year contract with the 49ers, he was named the backup quarterback over Trey Lance, the Niners' 3rd overall selection from 2021, who was subsequently traded to the Dallas Cowboys the next day. Later in the season, after Brock Purdy and the 49ers clinched the top seed, the 49ers chose to rest Purdy and start start Darnold in the regular season finale against the LA Rams. In that game, Darnold completed 16 of 26 pass attempts for 189 yards and a touchdown, as well as a rushing touchdown. Very respectable numbers against a playoff-hungry team in the Rams. I believe that Sam Darnold will thrive with the opportunity he's getting in Minnesota. It's a favorable situation for any quarterback, even J.J. McCarthy. Is there hope for McCarthy? Yes, but if Sam Darnold has a good season, what will the Vikings do? Should the team keep Darnold and continue to let McCarthy learn under him, or will they let Darnold hit free agency? If Darnold plays well, the smart thing to do is place the franchise tag on him and see if any other team is willing to trade for him, or possibly keep him and trade away McCarthy. The Vikings could be in a very good situation in 2025 and beyond. The hope is that J.J. McCarthy is more than just a Temu Kirk Cousins. His time at Michigan shows that he never really had to be the savior for the Wolverines, thanks to the incredible team Jim Harbaugh built in Ann Arbor. Essentially, all McCarthy had to do was smile. During his time with the program, he put up impressive numbers, but the offense's strategy was primarily run first. Harbaugh loved to hand the ball off to running back Blake Corum and rely on his Wolverine defense to close out games. In 2022, which was McCarthy's second year but first real opportunity for playing time, he completed 208 of 322 passes for 2,719 yards with 22 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. He achieved a 155 quarterback rating and also rushed for 306 yards and 5 touchdowns. Michigan had a 12-1 season, and McCarthy played a meaningful role in helping his team reach the Fiesta Bowl. During the game, he completed 20 of 34 passes for a career-high 343 yards, with 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, both unfortunately returned for touchdowns, in the 51-45 loss to TCU in the college football playoff semifinals. In 2023, McCarthy led Michigan to an undefeated season and a national championship victory. He completed 240 of 332 passes for 2,991 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions, with a quarterback rating of 167.4. McCarthy ended his career at Michigan with a remarkable 27-1 record as the starting quarterback, the best winning percentage in NCAA Division I history. Throughout his 3 years at Michigan, the Wolverines defeated Ohio State, secured the Big Ten title, and made it to the CFP semifinals. Leading up to the 2024 NFL Draft, Jim Harbaugh went out of his way to praise his college quarterback. He compared McCarthy to Andrew Luck, Harbaugh's former quarterback at Stanford, and even went as far as saying that McCarthy was the best quarterback in Michigan's program history. Do you think Harbaugh's praise is truthful, or was he just flattering McCarthy? My question is, if Harbaugh thought so highly about McCarthy, why didn't he select him? That type of praise makes JJ seem destined for the Hall of Fame. The Chargers had the 5th pick in the draft. Yeah, they have Justin Herbert, but if Harbaugh was so certain of McCarthy, he could have traded Herbert for multiple first-round picks and rebuilt his team faster to catch up to Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and the Chiefs. Don't get me wrong, I believe Harbaugh was bluffing all along. McCarthy is good, but I'm not jumping on the wagon or narrative that Harbaugh was trying to make about him. McCarthy was part of a legendary college team, the same program that produced the NFL's greatest quarterback. Tom Brady didn't achieve as much success as McCarthy did while at Michigan, but we all know what Brady accomplished in the pros. Not trying to compare JJ to Brady whatsoever, but if JJ can accomplish a fraction of what Brady did in the NFL, we can all look back and say that he was a great pick by Minnesota. When JJ returns fully healthy, he will have a very good team around him. Top coaching, elite weapons, and a tough defense. Pretty much a similar situation he's familiar with. Did JJ cause bad luck to fall on him for talking trash? Will he be able to bounce back after facing a vanilla defense? We look forward to seeing if he can and wish him all the best. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you enjoyed the video, join the Halftime family and check out some of our other videos. See you in the next one.